What's up, family? Aaron Siler, Birdash. I enjoy saying my name. It just I don't know. I think it gives me power. You know what I mean? I enjoy my name. A lot of y'all don't know. I changed my entire name. I changed my first, middle, and my last name. Nothing truly against my family, other than the fact that I don't have a true attachment to neither my dad's last name or my mom's last name. I get a lot of questions. I've gotten a lot of questions lately as far as like how it is that I deal with dysphoria. How do I deal with like lack of support, homophobia. I think that it's important to. I think it is important to know the power within yourself, and trumping the importance of yourself, your well-being, and your spirit over everybody else's, over all others, and your opinion of yourself. Nobody has to walk with you like you have to walk with you. You know what I'm saying? And how somebody else feels and what somebody else feels, what somebody else thinks and how somebody else thinks is none of my business, nor is it none of my concern. You know what I'm saying? So how somebody else feel about the way I live my life, how somebody else feel about my decisions, that's on them. That's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? And I think that and knowing that and feeling that and believing that with everything that I am is how I get through dysphoria. And that's why I don't really remember ever experiencing dysphoria. I've always known who I was, and I've always been okay with that. You know what I mean? I've always known who I was, and I've always known that other people may not be okay with that, be it friend or foe. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that because somebody else don't listen. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like what I do. You don't have to like who I am. But as long as I enjoy me, as long as I enjoy my time, as long as I like who I am, as long as I appreciate the man that I am when I look in the mirror, I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't trump nothing over me. And that's period. And a lot of people can see that as it being selfish. A lot of people can see it as me having an ego problem. I don't have a problem with neither one of them, and nor do I think being selfish or being full of yourself is a problem. I think that only becomes a problem when you don't know how to look outside yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with me. Things that I feel need to be corrected with me are things that I correct, and that's not based off of somebody else. When I decided that I was too big, when I realized how big I was and I wasn't happy with that, that's when I changed it. Not everybody got to be like that. Some people might be heavy and they may be okay with that. You know, I needed to be the size that I saw fit. I wanted to be visually who it was that I saw in my mind's eye. You know what I'm saying? Prior to me getting my mastectomy, I knew that's something that I was going to get. And so me having to wear a binder constantly, or me constantly having to bind my chest, that didn't bother me because I knew that was somewhere I was that was going to get me to where I needed to be. I wasn't upset about my body at that time because that body got me to where I am now. You know what I mean? That person got me to who I am now. Be it I was born a female, I wasn't angry about it. It wasn't something that depressed me, you know, because I knew that that's where I currently was, but I knew the step to take to get me to where I wanted to go. You know what I mean? And because of that, And because of my comfort with myself, I didn't experience it. So when people ask me, how do I deal with dysphoria? And how come I don't suffer from it? It's because the importance of myself to myself is here. The importance of how everybody else view me is down here. And I think that's where dysphoria comes from. Dysphoria comes from who you see yourself as and who other people see you as. And trumping what other people see you as over yourself. So my best answer, or my best advice to people who deal with dysphoria through transitioning, be it a trans woman or a trans man, somebody that's overweight, somebody that's underweight, deal with what you can deal with. You know what I mean? Change the things that you can change, because no matter what people say, you can't change somebody else's mind. When somebody make up their mind about who you are to them, that's just who you are. You know, so people are always like, then, you know, what if they think of you as a female in their mind, but they call you a male out loud? What you think about in your head has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Respect me the same way I respect you, and that's it. You know what I mean? You tell me that your name is Roger, I'm gonna call you Roger, and that's just what it's gonna be. About homophobia, I believe I answered this in my last video. I can't say that I don't care, because I know what that sounds like, because it is something to care about, but as long as it's not something that harms me, you don't have to like what I like. You don't have to agree with what I agree with. Just respect me and learn to respect people and respect people's views. You know what they say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want people to respect you, lend them that same respect. You know what I mean? And that's all. You don't have to like it. Just respect people. You don't have to like their views. Just respect them as a person. What was the other question? I told myself that I was going to write this stuff down. What is it like being in heterosexual spaces? Or what was it? Being in biological men, heterosexual biological men spaces. If anybody knows me, they know that I speak my truth. You know what I mean? That doesn't have to be me outing myself as being trans, but that just means that I don't believe that you have to be a part of a lifestyle in order to disagree or agree with one. So when I am in male spaces, I speak my truth, whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of times, a lot of things can be corrected if your peers help you correct them, or if you voice how inappropriate it is, or whether or not it's wrong. So when I'm talking to men, when I'm in a group, you know, and with men, and they say what they say about females, or they talk about their sex life, or, you know what I mean, like that whole taking condoms off without people knowing about it, and I respond the way that anybody should respond. I speak my truth, and I don't fear me speaking up about certain issues. I don't fear that out in me. You know what I mean? I always let people know I got lots of sisters. You know, I got nieces. I got aunties. You know, I have a mom. So I think that it comes down to being able to outwardly respect somebody without them being there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to, one, I don't have to pretend to agree with you just because I'm a man. And two, I don't have to silence myself because I'm a man either. You know what I mean? I speak my truth, and I stand up for what I believe needs to be stood up for. And that person or those people don't have to be there for it, because you honestly don't know who's listening, and you don't know who could be looking up to you. So I'm not gonna be in spaces with things happening that I don't agree with, and be secretly silenced because I'm a man. No more than I would when I'm talking to my sisters, or I'm talking to a female. If it's something that she say wrong, I'm gonna speak up on that wrong, and she could view it as that comes from me being, being born a female, and that goes back to how you view me don't matter. I speak up. I'm an advocate for truth. So I never agree when people say stuff like no comment, or when trans men, where fellow trans men, they get into other male spaces and they won't speak up about certain issues, or they can't, like I was just watching a video and dude was saying that when he around homophobic people and they're speaking, about or they're downing like people in the LGBT community, he doesn't speak up because he don't want to, stand out too much. I think that's a coward way out of anything. And that can just be how I view it. But I know that I have a son, and I'm not raising no coward. If it is something that your heart and your mind and your spirit don't agree with, speak on it. You can be as homophobic as you want. If you feel like me speaking up on it makes me a homo, then it's you that needs to reevaluate, yourself, because speaking up about an injustice doesn't mean that you have to be a part of that. It's just, we live in a society where everything is dumbed down. We are desensitized. Yeah, that's the word. To everything. And so this whole, I'm just, being honest, and we just live in a time where people don't consider other people's feelings. People don't consider how people can take things, and for some reason, giving a fuck about somebody that you don't know, or giving a fuck about anything, became this soft thing all of a sudden. Like, it's not okay to give a fuck about nothing. It's not okay to fight for relationships. It's not okay to fight for friendships. It's a certain thing as being too close. Dudes not allowed to do anything that looks like it's feminine. And, everybody is just are so used to being labeled and set in boxes that they okay with it. And I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying? So if it's something that I don't think is right, then I speak on that shit. And that's period. I speak on that shit. Now, I could look outside myself and speak on it, if you ever have a conversation with me about anything, I could tell you how I feel. I could tell you about how I agree with your views, and I could tell you how I disagree with the view. But I think that people don't live on principle no more, and that's where we are now. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the minority, those groups won't become, I guess, valued until they value themselves based on principle. But I think that I've covered everything. I'm sorry if I was, everywhere, bouncing around subject to subject. But I am accepting donations. My Cash App is $dashe housing HOUSING. Anything that you can afford to donate, all proceeds will be going to the homeless and creating and making care packages for them. Some of the things that you can donate would be like wet ones, tissue, toothbrushes, toothpaste, crackers, canned food, I do prefer those cans that, you know, you can pop open yourself, that you don't need a can opener with. Socks, gloves, underwear, just anything that you can think that you would need if that happened to you. You know, message me privately either on Instagram at SYE_seer, SEER, or on Facebook at Sylar Burdash, SYLAR. I will be with you promptly. Thank you in advance.